So, good morning, all of you. Let's continue our video in which we were basically solving the AIBE 12 previous year question paper, and we have already solved the questions from 1 to 50, and we are going to start from question number 51 and onwards. So, let's begin. Shall I? So, question number 51, which is related with Article 213, empowers the governor to promulgate ordinances. Option we have when the state legislature is not in session. Option B during the course of legislature session. Option C on the recommendation of the state cabinet. Option D with the permission of the union government. Okay, so the question says Article 213 empowers the governor. Article 213 empowers the governor to promulgate ordinances. What is the meaning of promulgate basically in Hindi? Promul, घोषणा करना. So Article 213 empowers the governor to promulgate ordinances when the state legislature is not in session. Option B during the course of legislature session. Option C on the recommendation of the state cabinet. Option D with the permission of the union government. The right option is option A, that is when the state legislature is not in session. Question number 52. A person arrested should not be detained more than, options we have 48 hours, option B 24 hours, option C 14 days, option D 19 days. The right option is option B, that is 24 hours. Question number 53. Who of the following Muslim is not entitled to maintenance? Options we have son who is a minor, daughter who is not married, grandparents, and illegitimate son. Who of the following Muslim is not entitled to maintenance? The right option is an illegitimate son. Question number 54. In civil cases, Indian Evidence Act bestows burden of proof on the petitioner, the respondents, the state government, the court. The right option is option A, the petitioner. Question number 55. In which of the following of section 59 CRPC the discharge of the arrest person by a police officer can take place? Question number 55. In which of the following of section 59, in which of the following of section 59 CRPC the discharge of the arrested person by a police officer can take place? Options we have on his own bond, option B on bail, option C under special order of magistrate, option D all of the above, all of them. The right option is option D, all of them. So it can be on by his own bond, by creating or forming by his own bond, or on bail, or under special order of the magistrate. What was the section? Section 59 of CRPC. Discharge of arrested person by a police officer can take place. Section 59 of CRPC. Question number 56. Financial relations between the state and center are defined in Constitution. Options we have between Article 245 to 255, Article 256 to 263, between Article 264 to 293, or none of the above. The right option is option C, between Article 256 to, sorry, C na, C, between 264 to 293. So financial relation between the state and center is are defined in Constitution between Article 264 to 293. Question number 57. Mahatma Gandhi ji was jailed and prosecuted by British regime in 1922 at Ahmedabad under section 124A of IPC for option A calling hattle, option B breaching public peace and tranquility, option C sedition and disaffection to the government, option D none of the above. The right option is option C sedition and disaffection to the government. Question number 58. Police can seek a bond for good behavior under section 109 and 110 of CRPC from option A habitual offenders, option B white collar criminals, option C jail inmates, option D none of the above. So police can seek a bond for good behavior under section 109 and 110 of CRPC from habitual offender or white collar criminals or jail inmates or none of the above. The right option is option A from habitual offenders. Question number 59. Daya Bhaga school presumes that a family, because it is joint possesses joint property. Option A, the statement is correct. Option B, the presumption is under Mitakshara school. Option C, this statement is incorrect. Option D, none of these. The right option is option C, that is, this statement is incorrect. Question 60. Meaning of industrial dispute according to the Industrial Dispute Act 1947 is option A, dispute between employers and employers. Option B, dispute between employers and workmen. Option C, dispute between workmen and workmen in connection with the employment and non-employment. Option D, all of the above. Its right option is option D, all of the above. Means meaning of industrial dispute according to the Industrial Dispute Act is the dispute between the employers and employers, the dispute between the employers and workmen, and the dispute between workmen and workmen in connection with the employment and non-employment. Question number 61. English case Ryland versus Fletcher laid down a very important rule. Question number 61. English case Ryland versus Fletcher laid down a very important rule. Options we have absolute liability, option B vicarious liability, option C indirect liability, option D financial liability. The question has been cancelled, so we can't guess the options. Question number 62. Which of the following is not an essential for a valid sale? Which of the following is not an essential for a valid sale? Options we have: the parties must be competent to contract. Option B, there must be mental consent. Option C, there must be a transfer of property. Option D, there must be an agreement to sell. Not is not an essential for a valid sale. The parties must be competent contract. There must be a mental consent. Must be a transfer of property. Third requirement नहीं होगा ना, I guess. There must be an agreement to sell. 62 का राइट ऑप्शन है बाय द वे डी, देयर मस्ट बी एन एग्रीमेंट टू सेल, इज नॉट एन एसेंशियल फॉर अ वैलिड सेल. एग्रीमेंट की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है, विदाउट एग्रीमेंट भी सेल हो सकता है, ऐसा कहना है क्वेश्चन का, और जो कि ठीक भी है, विदाउट एग्रीमेंट भी सेल होता है. Question number 63. Custodial death is perhaps one of the worst. Custodial death is perhaps one of the worst. Custodial death, perhaps one of the worst in a civilized society governed by the rule of law. Worst, worst crimes. So custodial death is perhaps one of the host. Why I'm saying host, worst, worst crimes in a civilized society governed by the rule of law. In which case, Supreme Court made this remark. Options we have A.K. Gopalan versus the State of Madras. Option B, M.C. Mehta versus Union of India. Option D, D.K. Basu versus the State of Bengal. And option D, Visakha versus the State of Rajasthan. The right option is option C, that is D.K. Basu versus the State of Bengal, in which the statement came, it was the observation of the court that custodial death is perhaps one of the worst crimes in a civilized society governed by the rule of law. Question number 64 says a suit for compensation for false imprisonment. A suit for compensation for false imprisonment. The period of limitation is a suit for compensation for false imprisonment. The period of limitation is 3 years from the date of sentencing the judgment. Option B, 3 years from the date of release of imprisonment. Option C, 3 years from the date of commencing the imprisonment. Option D, 1 year when the imprisonment ends. So I have to pause the video here. We will continue the video after a few minutes. There is some issue arising. So I am continuing the video basically in my room, like I was recording the video and then suddenly the maid came to clean up the room, so I have to go out. Okay, so we were on question number 64. A suit for compensation for false imprisonment. The period of limitation is option A, 3 years from the date of sentencing the judgment. Option B, 3 years from the date of release of from imprisonment. Option C, 3 years from the date of commencing the imprisonment. And option D, 1 year when the imprisonment ends. Wait. And the right option is option C. Sorry, option D, which is 1 year when the imprisonment ends. Question number 65. Rule of law is defined by options we have Jeremy Bentham, option B Sir John Salmon, option C what we say Dicey or Dicey. I would like to say Dicey. So I don't know how to pronounce it. Basically, A.Y. Dicey. Option D Professor Aristotle. The right option is option C, that is A.Y. Dicey. Okay, so the rule of law is defined by A.Y. Dicey. Question number 66. What is the time prescribed for filing an FIR? What is the time prescribed for filing an FIR? What is the time prescribed for filing an FIR? Option A, within 24 hours. Option B, within 48 hours. Option C, within 14 days of the 14 days of the offense. Option D, no time limit is specified. The right option is option D, that is no time limit is specified. So you can file the FIR, you can just make the complaint whenever you want, whenever you just decided. Question number 67. Which of the following is true of rules framed by the Supreme Court with reference to appeal to it? Question number 67. Which of the following is true of rules framed by the Supreme Court with reference to appeal to it? The options we have, they are a special law. The mic is working, na? I guess, I hope so. They are a special law within section 4 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. Option B, they must take precedence over section 114 or order 47. Option C, both A and B. Option D, none of these. The right option is option D, none of these. Question number 68. An appeal against order passed under Section 27 of the Consumer Protection Act 1986 by the National Commission lies in the High Court, the Supreme Court, or the central government, or not appealable. The right option is option B, that is the Supreme Court. An appeal against order passed under Section 27 of the Consumer Protection Act 1986 by the National Commission lies in the Supreme Court. Question number 69. Which is the body that award punishments to the advocates for misconduct? Option A, Ethics Committee. Option B, Professional Development Committee. Option C, Disciplinary Committee. Option D, High Court. The right option is option C, Disciplinary Committee. Question number 70. Which section of Sales of Goods Act 1930 deals with anticipatory breach of contract? Question number 70. Which section of Sale of Goods Act 1930 deal with anticipatory breach of contract? Options we have section 50, option B section 65, option C section 60, option D section 70. The right option is section 60. So section 60 of Sale of Goods Act 1930 deal with anticipatory breach of contract. Question number 71. Criminal proceedings against infringer is enabled in the Copyright Act by evoking the provisions. Question number 71. Criminal proceedings against the infringer is enabled in the Copyright Act by evoking the provision. Options we have section 13 to 16, section 17 to 27, section 63 to 70. Option D, none of the above. The right option is option C, that is section 63 to 70. Question number 72. Which section of Indian Registration Act 1908 provides with compulsory registration of instrument of gifts and immovable properties? Which section of Indian Registration Act 1908 provides with compulsory registration of instrument of gifts and immovable properties? The options we have section 11, section 13, section 17. D, none of the above. The right option is option C, which is section 17. So section 17 of the Indian Registration Act 1908 provides with compulsory registration of instrument of gifts and immovable properties. Compulsory registration of instrument of gifts and immovable property. Section 17. Question number 73. State government's power to control the road transport is provided. State government's power to control the road transport is provided in the Motor Vehicle Act 1988 under section. Options we have under section 67 of Motor Vehicle Act 1988, or under section 68, or under section 69, or none of the above. The right option is option A, that is section 67 of the Motor Vehicle Act 1988. So under section 67 of Motor Vehicle Act 1988, the state governs power to control the road transport is provided. Question number 74. Doctrine of lis pendens is given under which section of the Transfer of Property Act? Doctrine of lis pendens. Options under section 41, under section 52, under section 53, under section 53A. The right option is option B, that is under section 52. And I'm gonna take 1 or 2 minutes. I'm just changing my location. I'm going back to in my room. So wait for at least 5 seconds. So I just came back on my original place, where where I was recording the video early. So I'm gonna continue my video from here. So we have already discussed 25 questions in this video. This is part 2, by the way. Part 2 of solving the AIB 12 previous year question paper. Now 25 question is almost left. Not almost, 100%, what I will say. And so let's continue. Question number 75. Wait, give me a few more seconds. Question number 75. Which of the following statements is true regarding the characteristics of international law? Options we have: it is a true law. Option B, it has vertical structure. Option C, it has well established institutes of governance. Option D, it has formal law enforcing agencies. The right option of question number 75 is option D, that is, it has formal law enforcing agencies. Which of the following statements is true regarding the characteristics of international law? That it has formal law enforcing agencies. Question number 76. Deferred meher is payable at the time of divorce or at the time of death of a spouse. Option A, this statement is true under Sunni law. Option B, this statement is not true. Option C, deferred meher is payable only at the time of divorce. Option D, defer is meher is payable only at the time of death of the spouse. The right option is option A. The statement is true under Sunni law. Question number 77. Dying declaration must be made by option A, the dying person in a hospital. Option B, the doctor who is treating the deceased in hospital. Option C, the deceased before death. Option D, nearest relative of the deceased. The right option is option C, the deceased before death. Question number 78. Judgment should be delivered to the parties or to their pleaders in the open court. Option A, by delivering the whole of the judgment. Option B, by reading out the whole of the judgment. By reading. Option C, by reading out the operative part of the judgment. Option D, all of the above. Its right option is option D, all of the above. Question number 79. Which of the following deals with the evidence for prosecution? Evidence for prosecution. Option A, section 242 of CRPC. Option B, section 264 of CRPC. Option C, section 237 of CRPC. Option D, which is section 235 of CRPC. The right option is option A, that is section 424 242 of CRPC. Section 242 of CRPC deals with the evidence for prosecution. Question number 80. Abetting the commission of suicide is given under. Question number 80. Abetting the commission of suicide is given under option A, section 9 of IPC, section 8 of IPC, section 7 of IPC. Option D, none of the above. The right option is option D, none of the above. Question number 81. Control over subordinate courts shall be control over subordinate courts shall be vested in the option A High Court, option B Supreme Court, option C Chief Minister, option D Governor. The right option is option A High Court. Question number 82. Section 34 of CPC provides option A the payment of fine imposed by the court, option B payment of compensation to the other parties, option C payment of interest, option D none of the above. Section 34 of the CPC provides option C, that is payment of interest. Question 83 has been removed. Question 84. According to clauses 1, 2, and 3 of Section 145 of the Code of Civil Procedure, a surety, option A, may render himself personally liable. Option B, he may only give a chance upon his property. Option C, he may undertake a personal liability and charge his property as further charge. Option D, all of the above. The right option is option D, all of the above. Means he may render himself personally liable, or he may only give a chance, sorry, he may only give a change upon his property. He may only give a change upon his property. Option C, as well as he may or he can or he may undertake a personal liability and charge his property as further charge. Question number 85. Section 49 of Factories Act 1947 explains about option A canteen, option B crèche, option C welfare officer, option D restroom. The right option is option C, that is welfare officer. Welfare officer. Section 49 of Factories Act 1947 explain about welfare officer. Question number 86. The word case used in section 115 of the Code of Civil Procedure is of wide import and option A. It means any state of facts juridically considered. Option B. It includes civil proceeding other suits, civil proceeding other suits and is not restricted to anything contained in the section to the entirety of the proceeding in a civil court. Option C, both A and B. Option D, none of these. The right option is option B. It includes civil proceeding other suits and is not registered to anything contained in the section to the entirety of the proceeding in a civil court. Question number 87. A. If finds a purse with money, not knowing to whom it belongs, he afterwards discovers that it belongs to B and appropriates to his own use. A is guilty of criminal breach of trust, option B cheating, option C criminal misappropriation, option D theft. The right option is option C, which is criminal misappropriation. थेफ्ट नहीं होगा, चीटिंग भी नहीं की, क्रिमिनल ब्रीच ऑफ ट्रस्ट ये भी नहीं होगा, ट्रस्ट ब्रीच नहीं किया है, चीट भी नहीं किया, क्रिमिनल मिस एप्रोप्रिएशन. Question number 88. The word is not possessed of sufficient means in Order 33, Rule 1 refer to dower debt due by the petitioner's husband. Option B, to property over which petitioner has actual control. Option C, to sufficient property and excludes sole means livelihoods. Option D, none of these. The right option is option D, none of these. Question number 89. Section 22B of Legal Services Authority Act empower the central and state authorities to option A, abolish Lok Adalat. Option B, works of Lok Adalat. Option C, powers of Lok Adalat or permanent Lok Adalat. Option D, none of the above. The right option is option D, none of the above. Section 22B of Legal Services Authority Act empower the central and state government authorities to, and all are false. So its right option is option D, which says none of the above. Question number 90. Indian Evidence Act was enacted in option A 1972, option B 1872, option C 1955, option D 1986. The right option is option B, which is 1872. So the Indian Evidence Act came into force in 1872. Question number 91. Which is the correct statement? Which is the correct statement with regard to the professional ethics of a lawyer? Option A. Lawyers have no right to go on strike or give a call for boycott. Option B. An advocate shall not influence the decision of a court by any legal or improper means. Option C. An advocate abusing the process of court is guilty and misconduct. Option D, all of the above. The right option is option D, which is all of the above. So, the professional, as we see, the professional ethics of a lawyer should be that he should not go on strike or give a call for boycott of anything, or he shall not influence the decision of a court by any illegal or improper means, or as well as an advocate abusing the process of the court is guilty and misconduct. These should be the factors that an advocate should know, an advocate should be aware about. Question number 92. Droid administration is a system of administration. Option A, French system. Option B, British system. Option C, American system. Option D, Irish system. The right option is option A, which is French system. Droid administration is a system of administration which is of French system. Question number 93. Which act is covering the cyber crimes? Option A, Indian Telecommunication Act. Option B, Indian Penal Code. Option C, Indian Evidence Act. Option D, Information Technology Act. The right option is option D, which is Information Technology Act. Question number 94. In the tort of conspiracy, the purpose of combination must be to option A, violate legal right of the victim. Option B, cause damage to the victim. Option C, obtain benefit for the combiners. Option D, perfect the interest of combiners. The correct option is option A, violate legal right of the victim. Violate legal right of the victim. Question number 95. Cancellation of instrument is mentioned in section 8 to 25 of Specific Relief Act, or option B, section 26 of Specific Relief Act. Option C, which is section 31 to 33 of Specific Relief Act. Option D, section 36 to 42 of Specific Relief Act. The right option is option C, which is from section 31 to 33 of Specific Relief Act. Question number 96. Unfair labor practice by the employers. Unfair labor practice by the employers. Option A, victimization. Option B, false implication in criminal case. Option C, untrue allegations of absence without leave. Option D, all of the above. The right option is option D, which is all of the above. Unfair labor practice by the employers. Victimization without leave. Question 97. The coastal regulation zone notification was issued by the central government in options we have in 1986, in 1988, in 1991, in 1997. The right option is option C, which is in 1991. So the coastal regulation zone notification was issued by the central government in 1991. Question number 98. Who is lawful guardian or who is lawful guardian? Option A, a person who in law represents the minor. Option B, a person who has been appointed by the court. Option D, a person who has been authorized to represent an unmarried daughter. Option D, all of the above. The right option is option D, which is all of the above. So, a lawful guardian is a person who in law represent the minor, or a person who has been appointed by the court, or a person who has been authorized to represent an unmarried daughter. Question number 99. Under the Companies Act, every person subscribing to the memorandum of a company must take at least option A 100 shares, option B 20 shares, option C 10 shares, option D 1 share. Under the Companies Act, every person subscribing to the memorandum of a company must take at least 1 share. Its right option is option D, which is 1 share. Last question is GST came into force from option A 1st January 2017, option B 1st April 2017, option C 1st July 2017, or option D 1st August 2017. The right option is option C, that is 1st July 2017. And here we have just completed our AIBE 12 AIBE 12 previous year question paper. We have completed from 1 to 100 questions. Okay, these were the right options of these questions. So you will also get the idea from this. I have also got a lot of idea from this while I'm basically solving this paper. Now I am also learning lot of things. So let's wind up the thing here, and gonna see you when we will solve the AIB 13 previous year question paper. Okay, till then, have a nice day, have a nice time, and thank you to all.